Hello and welcome back to another video on the Cyber Healer channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the easiest role to climb in League of Legends. So if you want to climb easily without very many hassles and only few losses, you need to watch this video. And a few things before we get in this video. I'm Cyber Healer. I run this YouTube channel, and I'm starting to do League of Legends content now. I've switched over from Rainbow Six. My goal is to hit Diamond before the end of the summer. So if you want to join me, make sure you like and subscribe and comment, because that's how the YouTube algorithm knows that it has good retention nowadays. So a comment, even if it's like a hi or a good video, goes a long way. Thank you. Alright, so let's get into the video. Now, so what I'm going to start off this video is I'm going to explain the pros and cons of every role in this game. And then from there we're going to break down how we can assess which role is the best for climbing. So let's start with the very top of the map, top lane. Advantages of top lane. You're solo laning, and you'll probably get a lot of CS, putting you 1 to 2 levels ahead of every other laner in the game, except for maybe your partner laner, depending on your lead. Downsides, you don't get ganked as much, and you're not as involved in team fights to get kills, so you have to be very reliant on your own personal skill. And plus, it sucks to play right now due to the fact that you have very dominant bruisers that do a lot of damage, and tanks and other things are still strong, but can't put out the damage that bruisers do. Do I need to remind everyone that Aurelia and Mathematically Correct Set exist? Next, jungle. Jungle, as a semi-jungle main, I feel for junglers, and some people would say that jungle is the easiest role to climb in. I would argue they are wrong. Jungle, you need to know your pathing for almost every character you play. You have to figure out when's your power spikes, when you can gank, which lanes are open, which lanes are pushed up. Upsides, you don't have to really worry about laning that much, and you kind of, CS comes a little better. So if you're not as good at CSing, but you know your pathing and the routes, jungle's pretty good. Next, mid lane. Arguably one of the hardest roles in all the game to play because of the champion pool that mid lane provides. So, mid lane. You have champions like Yasuo, and Aurelia, and Katarina, and Zoe, and Diana. May I go on? All champions known for being notoriously hard to play against, that a lot of people just don't want to play against them, and it can make it very hard. Now, mid lane, you are susceptible from ganks on both sides, and your warding skills have to be pretty good, and you have to have very good map awareness. So, unless you can do that, mid lane's not for you. But some advantages of mid lane is you're in the center of the map, so you do get ganked a lot. Both sides of it. Sometimes in mid lane you have kind of like feeding people, because people like to run it down mid, and you might be able to get a free kill or two. Some people, junglers, will like to cross across the mid lane. You might be able to poke some damage out and put the jungler behind. You have basically even pressure on Herald and Baron and dragons. So you can always help there. You have easy lane prio in almost anywhere you go because of where you are stationed on the map, and it's the easiest and fastest way to get back to the lane if you're concerned about that. Now, let's move on to the bot lane. We have ADC. ADC is notoriously considered the hardest role in this game to play and rank up on because of the notoriousness of most ADCs in this game either fall off late, are not good in the meta currently, or are very hard to play with or against. So, ADC, you get to do a lot of damage, and you have a support that kind of makes sure you don't die if they do their job right. Most of the time, your ADC, when you play it, should be somewhere around having the same CS as your top laner, but lower levels, just purely based on what's going on there. You usually get kind of ganked all the time, due to the fact that you're on the bottom of the map, so people like to path down, no matter if it's your jungler or the enemy jungler. And you do have to be, again with the mid thing, observing the entire map that entire time. Now, moving on to our last and final role, the support. Now, as a semi-support main in ranked, I can vouch that support can be a complex yet easy role at the same time. You're single-handedly responsible for keeping your attack damage carry, or ADC, alive for all the fights, and trades in lane. You can't let them die, or otherwise they just fall behind. You get flamed, and it's apparently your fault. You're also responsible for about half the wards that your team places. You're responsible for bringing any heals, CC that your team may need, or tankiness. You're also responsible for watching the entire map, pinging all of your teammates to make sure they're okay, watching where the enemy jungler is, and making callouts. That's kind of the support's job. You're also responsible for destroying wards, but the advantage of being a support is, despite what I just said, you don't have to do a whole lot. You're not there CSing, you're not running up and getting kills depending on what support you play. There are exceptions like Swain and a couple other ones, but you don't have to do a whole bunch. You're there just basically to play support. So, as much as that seems kind of obvious, your job is just to keep everyone from dying. So, my main support is Rell. So, when you play Rell, your whole job is just to stun, pull, and CC the enemy until your ADC gets a kill. In that case, I don't have to do much but just stand there and be tanky. And that makes support a pretty easy role, but is it the easiest role to play to climb? And for the rest of the video, I'm going to explain which thing is the easiest. And I'm going to slowly eliminate classes over time, whether that be mid, jungle, top, whatever. So, first thing I want to throw out of the mix for any kind of easiest thing. And it's important to note that each role could be easy depending on your skill set and your ability to play the game, and what elo you're at, but we're talking in general. So, let's say ADC is the hardest role to climb on, and I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. And if you have a different opinion, tell me down in the comments below. But you have to do so much as an ADC, and you're responsible for so much at the same exact time, that it's not the easiest role to climb in. You have a very limited champ pool, and you're also very squishy, so you're not going to be able to take a lot of damage for your team, and you don't offer much in the form of hard CC or anything like that. That could help your team win. So it's going to be very damage orientated, which is not great for climbing. Also, I'm going to throw mid out of the mix. Mid can be challenging, especially when you're getting ganked from both sides. You have to watch all of your, ins and outs of each lane, where you're warding the enemy laner because you know they're going to be 5-0 before the first minutes, and you didn't even do anything because the enemy team decided to invade and kill all of your junglers. Wonderful. It hasn't like that's happened to me 5 games in a row. No, hasn't happened. So, I'm going to throw mid out of the mix. Mid's not the easiest role to climb on unless you're a really skilled mid laner, and then you can solo carry games. I'm talking to every Katarina player that actually knows what they're doing and is Mastery 7. I thank you for carrying our games. As long as you're not toxic. Thank you. Next role I'm going to put in the category right now, and this is purely based on Season 11 status, top lane. I don't think that top lane, right now, I think give it a couple months with the new item changes that are coming, may be easy to climb, but as of right now, is not. I would throw it in the middle, and I would say, if you have the skill and you know what you're doing, and that could go with anything I just listed, you could play top lane and climb. But you would have to play one of the few select champs that are really good right now, depending on your elo, and it's very dependent on what your opponent bans and counters. So, top lane's kind of that, throw it down the middle and you got a 50-50 coin chance there. You could either go really far with it or just devote until iron. So I wouldn't stay clear of it, but I wouldn't pick it up if you don't know what you're doing. Next, I would say that it is honestly going to be jungle next because of just the pathing difficulty, and you're responsible for so much on that map. You're responsible for pressure, counter, ganking, invading the enemy if they made a mistake, getting all the objectives, and that can be very hard for most players at low ranks or even high ranks to understand. There's so much to a jungler that, especially even with the new changes, they change it all the time so that you never get really used to it. And it can be very complex a lot of the time to even understand what's going on the map in all three of the lanes, all 3 lanes, and understand what's going on in your independent jungle. So I would say jungle was maybe not the easiest, but not the hardest by far. Once you learn it, it's easy. And I'd say you could learn jungle about 15 games if you truly wanted to and be proficient at it. Next, I think you guys have all guessed it, but I think support is the easiest role to climb in, purely based on the fact that all you have to do is ward, keep your ADC alive, and watch the map, which, with the new changes to the map and how you can scale it bigger, isn't that hard for support or jungle mains to use. Also, supports get away with getting a lot of S's, so if you want to get Mastery 7 on any of your champions, play them support, guys. Little tip there. Now, supports are often underrated. You won't get many honors, but you are the... Basically, I'll let everyone in that's watching this video. You are the hidden carry of the team, because without you, the ADC would be nothing, but they will never admit that. And ADCs, you know what I'm talking about. You want all the credit. You want the spotlight. Aphelios players. We're good here. But let's be honest. Support is the hidden carry of the group. No one really realized what the support's doing, but we all kind of think in the back of our head, this support is actually knowing what they're doing, and they're doing a lot for the team. So, you may not get a lot of honors, you may not get a lot of recognition, but you actually are saving the team, and if you want to be able to do something while also not doing something, play support, because you can get away with it. And with that, guys, I ask you a lot, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, comment, like, bell notification, all of that. I'm going to start live streaming every Tuesday and Thursday, up to where I climb to Diamond, and I'd really appreciate if you guys come out, watch the videos, or live streams, help a lot, grow the channel, maybe subscribe if you're new and you somehow stumbled upon this. Peace out.